Paul Yaffe here, Paul Yaffe's Bagger Nation. I'm in the shop today and I'm working on one of our new Sharknado fairings. And I'm installing what's called our quad pod daytime running lights. And what the quad pods consist of is two little billet, kind of banana shaped plates that we make here. And what they're meant to do is frame a series of our lightning bolt lights, which are these lights right here. So what I'm doing is in this kind of open scoop area on the Sharknado, I'm putting a set of the quad pod plates up here, marking holes, drilling holes, and bolting the quad pods in. Once this is done, what this will do is it'll create this daytime running light effect, kind of like on an Audi, and so it'll be super laser bright white daytime running lights on each side of the headlight. And then when you go to your turn signal function, the white light drops out and it changes to amber, and then it operates as your turn signals. And then when the turn signal cycle is done, it automatically switches back to the white daytime running lights. You could use these little quad pods, a pair of them, you could use them anywhere. You could use them as tail lights or front lights or turn signals anywhere. You just drill 4 holes and bolt them in and wire them up. So what I've done so far, I installed one. I drilled the holes and got them bolted in because I wanted to show you what one looks like bolted in. And then also it's much easier to make the two match. When one's bolted in, it's much easier for me to hold this quad pod up here, move it around a little bit. I just marked it, the hole locations with a silver Sharpie, and then I put a little center mark in the center of each hole. That's where I'll drill my pilot drill, which I'll take a small drill bit. This is a little 1/8 drill bit. I'll drill a small little pilot hole to start. That way, if it's off center, if it's not exactly right, the nice thing about unibits, which I'll show you what this is, that is a unibit. What it is it's a stepped drill bit that you can drill all of these sizes of holes with, and it steps in. The wonderful things about unibits and composite materials is they drill a very perfect round hole. They really cut where like a 2-fluted drill bit will want to bite this and it'll want to rip through the fiberglass, where this will actually scrape or drill, cut the fiberglass out. It's a much cleaner process. And with unibits, if you're going and you don't like you want the hole to move a little bit, you can pull on it and you can overcorrect your holes a little bit to make sure they're perfect every time. So always when you're drilling composite materials, use a unibit. Okay, so now my little pilot holes are drilled. Switch to my unibit. Easy peasy. 4 holes done. That unibit just does such a clean job. So now what I like to do is go in with a little rat tail file and just clean the edge of the hole up a little bit. Real quick. I like the position of everything, and everything is lining up. See, to me it looks like this hole right here I could come just a smidge down with. The nice thing about this is it's a little forgiving, so you don't have to be perfect. And the quad pod, the billet plate, the frame, covers all of your drill marks and everything. So after you put your bolts in and bolt them in, it just makes a really clean frame look. So this, I don't know if the camera focuses on that enough, but that is a lightning bolt. It is a 4 chip on board. It's LED, but it's called a chip on board technology. So 4 chips are in the end of that light. It's a flush mount light. You can see how thin it is, right? And then it has these little round nuts that go on it. So that's what it looks like without the nuts. Look how thin that thing is, and the face of it is smaller than a dime. So the bolt basically just slips right into the hole in the quad pod like that. It makes a really cool flush look. You just tighten the nuts on the other side, right? So that's the light flushed into the quad pod. Then that's the back that you won't see. That's the threaded body where the electrical components are, and all of the resistors and diodes are inside of this body. And then the little nuts screw on and lock it down, and it creates this kind of a look. I wanted a contrast here because of the copper leaf, so I put the brass lights in it. But you can do black on black. These also come in chrome. You can do chrome on chrome. And these are all dual intensity lights. So on the rear, they're your running lights, your brake lights, and your tail lights. So they have a turn signal function too. And then on the front, we have two different configurations. There's amber, meaning a dim amber light, and then a brighter amber light. So you can run it as a turn signal. Or my favorites are these, the daytime running lights, which these light up bright white. And then, like I said, they switch to yellow when you hit your turn signal button, to amber. And then they automatically, when your signal function ceases, then they automatically go back to white like daytime running lights. So these are as easy as just feeding the wire through the hole, sliding the bolt in, then I'll put the nuts on from the back. I'll slide the nut, making this look easy, right? One. Then I'll just keep doing the same process down the line until I have 4 of these in there. Let me get these 2 other bolts in and I'll show you guys what this looks like from the back. And each one of the bolts comes with 2 nuts. I'll show you. It comes with 2 of these round nuts. I always put the first one in and I torque it down. And then I like to put the second one in with just a little bit of Loctite, and I like to torque it down as a jam nut. So I like to stretch the little kinks out of the wire folds. Slip my bolt in, pull the wire through, just slips right in. Right after. Cool. So that's basically them loosely installed and mocked up, and now I'll take you to the next step. So you can see how these nuts have been installed. They've got the wires coming out, and then these are the ones that I was just showing you that just have the single nuts on them so far. Now what I'll do is I'll get these all locked in, I'll Loctite them, I'll get them all set up and permanent. And then I think I'm going to wire a set up real quick and show you what they look like. And then the next phase I'll do is I'll get into just combining all these wires and showing you how to wire them up as running lights, daytime running lights and turn signals. So I'm sure at this point you guys are dying to know what these lights look like. So I stripped down some wires and wired them up so I can show you real quick what the daytime running light versus the amber signals looks like. So when you turn the power of your bike on, this comes on along with your headlight. The daytime running lights are on like that all the time whenever your bike is powered on or running. Then what happens when you push your turn signal button? The white drops out and turns yellow. That becomes your turn signal function. And then your turn signal cycles through its turn signal. And then when the signal cycle stops, it'll automatically go back to daytime running lights. Pretty slick, huh? And incredible visibility. These chip-on-board lights are so incredibly bright. You can't not see them coming. They actually overpower the headlight. They're so bright, and it actually makes a really cool, mean look seeing your bike coming down the street too. But the visibility is just incredible. And the signal function, because the white drops out and turns to yellow, and then again back to daytime running light. these lightning bolts are killer. And just so you know, this is a particular application that we make of these lightning bolts. You can buy these lightning bolts individually and put them anywhere. Drill a hole in your bagger fairing, you can put them on your quads, your trucks, and we make them rear and front, red, brake light, tail light, turn signal, and front, daytime running light with amber signals or an amber function. And then the finishes of the bodies again are brass, chrome, silver, or black. So anyway, bear with me. Let me get this unhooked and then I'll show you how we're going to wire the insides out. Hey, Paul Yaffe here, Paul Yaffe's Bagger Nation. I am continuing on the Sharknado quad pod install. So last time we drilled our holes, we got the lightning bolts installed. I've got my double nuts Loctited, tightened, straightened, everything's good. Now what I like to do is I like to take you've got lots of wires, right? You've got 8 wires for 8 lights. What a mess, spaghetti. So what I like to do is clean it up. So I take a bunch of different shrink tubings, different sizes. It's important to have some different sizes of shrink tubing. And I like to take different sizes and slide them over. So the first thing I do is I slide some tight sleeves over the wires to insulate them all the way down to the base of the lightning bolts. I do a few inches on each bolt. Then I take some 1/4 inch and I sleeve it over like this. I sleeve it over 2 wires, right? And I sleeve, and then I put those pieces that I just individually shrinked. I kind of start tying them together, and then I take some 3/8 tubing and I slide it over all 4 wires and make it into a really nice clean bundle like that, and that's what it ends up looking like. So I've got a nice clean wire, everything's nice and loomed, it's orderly, and then I've got my 4 wires nice and neat and tied up, and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Once I do this, once I get to this point, then I'm going to decide where I want my common plug located, where I want it to plug in. And it can be anywhere right here inside the fairing. This isn't the plug, but once I'm going to end up tying all of these together, right? Because all of these are going to function as the same light. You're just going to have 4 on the right side, 4 on the left side, working together as daytime running lights and switchback turn signals. So I'm going to end up pulling all these, I'm going to end up stripping all these wires down, right? And then I'm going to group them all together. So at the end of it, I'll only have 3 wires coming out of each side. That's the way it'll be. I'll have a ground, I'll have a running light wire, and I'll have a signal wire. And then we're going to affix those into our plug. So this whole fairing ends up plug and play. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and finish my shrink tubing, and then I'll show you how I've got everything placed and how I've got it nice and neat. It'll look really clean and professional looking, and then I'm going to show you how I strip my wires and solder them together and turn all these wires into 6 wires. So stay tuned. All right, now what I'm going to do is I've got all the wire looms nice. I've got all these wires all nice and shrank and loomed up. So I've got 4 leads from the right, 4 leads from the left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate, where I'm going to figure out exactly where I want to. Basically, I'm going to cut these here with a little bit of, and then I'm going to strip a little wire off the end of it, and then I'm going to solder all the reds together, solder all the blues together, solder all the blacks together. So I make these 3 leads off of each one of these. Then I'm going to solder on extension wires, and I'll end up, instead of having all of these wires, I'll only have 6 coming out, which will be running light, brake light, ground for the right, running light, brake light, or turn signal light for the left. So that's what I'm going to do. So there we go. Blue, red, black. Those are the only 3 leads I need. So that's how it works. blues, my black, and my reds. So now that I've got these separated, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a couple of inches on here, you know, like that, 2-3 inches. There's my black, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these, strip them back, what I like to do is I twist the wires up a little bit together, like this. Now I've made 4 wires into 1 wire. Then I'm going to do the same with the red. So this one I'm going to make a little bit longer. And then I'm going to strip all these. Now I'm going to have 3, I'm going to have 12 wires turned into 3 wires.